We support you. We love you. Love is love, not war. But there's certainly going to be war waged on this particular battlefield here, Jam. For grand final responsibilities, there's a lot riding on the shoulders of these two. Twisted Minds in the blue, Rule 1 in the orange. Well, the winner goes to Major, whether we take 1 series or 3 to decide.
And I think that's your stat at the bottom of the screen, Relic, the percentage of really wins between Rule 1 and Twisted Minds. And Rule 1 is starting the series strong.
Now listen, SMW popped off. He popped off big time. This is all about the drop down from Senzo. Silky! And how about the run as well from the right-hand side for SMW? 3 players in front of him. He sees the eye of the storm, nails it. 50 seconds in, what a start.
At the start of the day, when Rule 1 and Falcons played, Rule 1 absolutely ran the defense of Falcons ragged with these early game goals. Now, the taste of their own medicine, Twisted Minds open up the scoring, and I'll quote Spooks, it's so incredibly hard to play from the back, having to always have to leave a bit of an opening back at the net because you're hunting, looking for a goal, you're in a chasing position, and we're going to be seeing Rule 1 in exactly that. How about this for a starter?
It's all down to Rule 1 now. They're fighting from behind pretty early on. It's a good shot attempt here from Killiers. Senzo equal to it. Mousen looking to utilize the top of the box, but SMW simply too fast for him. Really pacey on these counterattacks, but perhaps the pace outdoing themselves here. Twisted Minds losing possession. Roas looking for Killiers, but there's SMW up again. Not exactly a big turtle up here from Twisted Minds early on, and certainly they do need to have their wits about them still. A great save from Venom.
Oh, that's a lovely clear, and danger, at least for a moment, is removed. You're going to be seeing Rule 1 trying to utilize the past Killiers was to Brothers. No surprises about that. But in one series that we've seen so far today of Rule 1, Killiers actually was the one that has not been that noticeable. It was Ruaz. Ruaz is the one taking the shot, and Mazen perfectly slotted into the team. There have been questions. Is this an upgrade? Is it a side grade? Nader is out while Mazen is in. In that series versus Falcons earlier today, he has proven that he is right on point and should be considered among the best.
Presumptions and predictions do not matter as long as you make the grade. Once you hit the field, Twisted Minds certainly putting all of their plans into action right now. Good on defense, still working the offensive side of things as well, but this is a pretty decent clearance from Rule 1. Still unable to find the passing lanes without finding a Twisted Minds player in the way, ready to intercept. Even Senzo forced to go back here. Killiers has spread out nicely. He's going to be on this far side, looking for the backboard here, but there's SMW reading it like a book, waiting, lurking, and Mosen forced to consume the boost. Manages to get a touch on it here. Roas waits, but there's Venom again. They are nuisance making, Jam.
Oh, look at that. Twisted Minds all go for the ball. Still in control of it. I say still in control of it. Mazen almost channeling his inner someone. That dribble goal versus Falcons in the previous series. Oh my goodness. This was the series winning goal, sort of ish. Because that really just showed exactly what kind of Twisted Minds energy that there is to them. And so far, we are halfway done. Rule 1, they are dangerous. They are definitely trashing about, but they haven't been able to find one important thing, and that is a goal. No third coming in for Twisted Minds. You could see both Senzo and Venom are heading on back, Demo and Killer, so not going to be an immediate attack. But even with two players, Rule 1 is dangerous.
You only need 1 goal to win a game of Rocket League, and I think Twisted Minds most certainly know that. I love the adaptation that has come forth from them, where they're looking to enact many, many more demos upon Rule 1. If they're not going to be able to disrupt them, or if Rule 1 is alive to their ideas, then look, just remove the player from the field. It is a simple equation. You know what the result's going to be. Senzo with a demo on the far side for Killiers, but a miss in the midfield here has allowed Roas to go forward. SMW, oh, it's off the woodwork twice, and there goes Mosen to put it home. 90 seconds left. 1-1.
Just so many touches here and there, but Ruaz outplays 2. Senzo was needed, but neither of the players make a touch. And by the end, Twisted Minds having to clear it from the line. Sometimes it works. We've seen some great saves today already. Not in that case. Late in game number 1, Rule 1 finds something that says immediate setup on the backboard. Venom is needed because you can see Killiers is right there, ready to collect.
Shame. That's the first major mistake from Twisted Minds, perhaps a little bit too steadfast in their plans. They come forward, a bump from Venom onto SMW. Mosen's allowed to run away, looking for a second. Massive movement here from Senzo, puts it onto the backboard. saves the blushes of the rest of his team, and now they look for the counter-attack. Pinch, that going to go to the far corner, going to go right into Rule 1 hands. The possession is theirs for the moment. Roas, back to Kalirs, looking for the return pass. Excellent interception from Senzo once again. He's cracked it up a notch, but is he going to be able to put this one home? It's a really nasty scenario. Mosa waiting. Venom commits. There's SMW. Oh, tries to find the top pocket. Incredible save. And there's another demo. Another shot. Rule 1 survive as a Rule 1, but Rule 1 is inactive.
Oh, well, that's brilliant. How you got through that, I will never know, but this was the 30 seconds of the most high-octane action we've seen so far in this game. And it's almost a miracle that Twisted Minds did not get a goal in. They had all the tools. They're going to try again. British Rule 1 are still in a bit of a shock. How about this individual effort? No, just a long-range boomer. There's going to be a return on back. That's smart. And in the corner, that'll be working. Was past one, not past the second one. It requires Venom to come on close. Might be seeing overtime straight on through. I don't think either of the teams really wants to rush it. Or was, though. Last chance, Rule 1. This should be the last move of the game. Not dropping on the ground just yet. There you have it. Overtime. This game number 1, those 5 minutes, Relic, worthy of a grand final.
Most certainly, and now it's about who's going to be able to take it in overtime. Rule 1 certainly looking the stronger throughout the majority of this game, but Twisted Minds coming back strong once they found that goal. SMW helps it on its way, needed a bit more power. You're absolutely spot on the money there, Jam. How about Venom? Quick redirect. Rule 1, their defense a little bit all over the place, doing the job for the moment. Smart play from SMW to throw it into the corner, but unfortunately his teammates are back for boost. And that said, Sendo still doesn't have any boost.
He needs to find at least something because he's going to be the third returning on back. Venom wisely goes on all the way back to his own net, needs help because he's carrying the ball straight into the waiting bumpers of Rule 1. And this is the problem. Once again, boost. They bring the ball out, Twisted Minds, but then what do they do with it? Solo efforts? Well, that utilizes the whole bit of boost. Someone back to Senzo. They're still keeping it alive. I love those passes, but for Twisted Minds, they look a little bit more forced. And when it comes to Rule 1, Rule 1's give-and-go game is just amazing. But so far, that hasn't resulted in anything more than one goal. Off the crossbar and out from Kalirs.
Kalirs, at the very last death there, able to stop the shot from going in. It most certainly was otherwise. Venom, lovely redirect, Route 1 Rocket League. Switching it up once again, Twisted Minds. They're throwing the entire toolbox. Oh, that's another miss. Maybe a call off. Mosin had it in hand at the very least. He's going to miss out on this challenge, though. Venom looking for a backboard hit. And Kalirs throws it into the midfield, only finds SMW straight back towards the goal mouth. Venom backing up, going to miss out on this challenge, however. And Twisted Minds have to be careful not to oversell themselves.
Oh, how about backboard? Someone can't he take it? Oh, to the other corner. And Kalirs is forced to cover the whole width and breadth of the net. In that specific place, he's not needed. No boost for Rule 1. They're forced to just give the ball to their opposition and retreat, knowing fair and well that there's no need to take an extra risk. This is game 1. Even if you have plenty of games to be played, knowing the position Rule 1 is in, you don't want to take any extra risks. Good call right here as well. And Rule 1 are just trying to find any old opening as an opposition can, given the Venom once again hunting these demos. One-time Relic. They're going to be crucial. They're going to be game-winning. They're going to be... Oh! Crossbar out. Back into the net. Venom, thank you. 2-1. And Twisted Minds, they came to play.
Forget the toolbox. It's time to whip out the wands because it's all about the magic here. And Twisted Minds sowing a spell on that Rule 1 defense. Finally, they find a way through. And more importantly, Jam, for their own confidence, they take a game win. A single game win that I think, quite frankly, a lot of people would have expected of them. But this would be the only one. Rule 1 surely going to smash the rest of the story. I don't think that's the case. I have been so impressed.
Speaking of smashing, 11-4. That's the demo stat.
Yeah.
Twisted Minds, 11 demos, and you could notice them on the field, and you could notice just how much danger that spelled on the field. And Rule 1 were always forced to fall back to just get out of their position, retreat from their rotations. And this is going to be on their minds once again. I don't think Twisted Minds need to change the strategy. Be as huge a nuisance as possible. I think that's going to be the motto of Twisted Minds coming in this game number 2.
You say you don't feel the need to switch the strategy. Jam, they were adapting all game long, which is exactly the strategy that you do need to go into all these games of Rocket League. To have a one-trick pony team is to basically set yourself up for failure, because as soon as the opposition find out what you're doing well, and they find a way to undo it, guess what? You're going to go downhill. Twisted Minds showing real maturity and showing a sign of improvement that has been gradual over the course of this season. Fantastic to see them hitting the top 3, let alone the top 2 now for two consecutive tournaments in a row, I should say. It's only the very top now, which they need to hit this season to be able to say, yes, we're part of the big 3. Here on Forbidden Temple, will they be able to put pain to the woes of Rule 1, or Rule 1 about to strike back?
Well, the stat line was that with these teams meeting one another, there has never been a clear, or rather, there have never been a more confusing game. It always has been sweep. Rule 1 has been sweeping for the most part. Twisted Minds swept Rule 1 in the Spring Cup. And in the Spring Invitational earlier, sorry, someone has scored. Never mind, I'll return to that stat later on for the second time in a row, Relic. It's Twisted Minds opening the goal.
Bizarre ghost touch off the wall there from Killiers. I don't think he knew too much about it. And look, you've got to give credit there. They managed to bring it into the center, and they had a Shadow Striker ready to put it away. But Rule 1, the defense in the opening 15 seconds left wanting, whether it's for their own desires, for their own strategy, or otherwise, whether it's a bit of luck that they are lacking here. They need to put it right and quickly. Mosin in field, but there's Venom again. Too fast to the punch for the Rule 1 attackers.
Even in their series versus Falcons, Twisted Minds were on point when it came to kickoffs. And right here, Rule 1 is proving that even when they are sometimes the stronger team on the kickoffs, Twisted Minds just have them red, have their number. Little back passes here and there. Rule 1 just make a threatening shot on target, but nothing else of the sort. Rule 1 gets just demoed in offense. He's not threatening, so it just goes for everything, absolutely everything. Nothing is cleared out, and players are hitting the other players' cars more often than they're hitting the ball by this point.
Yeah, it's interesting. The conversation dominated about how Roas and Killiers, I mean, we have to remember, folks, that as much as they talk up a big game, this is their first full season, really, in RLCS. And the fact that they are as successful as they are at the moment is really quite impressive. But that's something that these Twisted Minds players most certainly have in spades. Experience. They've been here since before RLCS. They will most likely be here long after RLCS. And they're here to score a second goal, Jam. They've got it with 3 minutes 30 left.
Venom just gets everybody in. Killers, Mazen is not in time. And Rule 1, they were not the team that had to go through the gauntlet. They swept their opposition in their first series, and they've been sitting and twiddling thumbs, pretty sure warming up. Hold on a second, hold your horses. That's Senzo. Always plays for a pass, I love that. That's Twisted Minds with their, which is the baggage of games this tournament.
Oh!
Making saves like nobody's business. Making saves like... That could have been another one.
Incredible heroics from Venom. Once, twice, but it's a demo here from Killiers. 180 turn. Mosin unable to get the touch, but by then the damage has already been done. The lead is halved, and that is a much needed goal for Rule 1. Comes just 17 seconds after Twisted Mind's second. Now they're going to be tested once again. Their defense has been broken apart. Rule 1 bringing out the explosives to try and find a bit of parity on Forbidden Temple, and yet Twisted Minds still with the confidence to go forward and look for a third.
I'm listening to explosions. I'm looking at the overlay and looking for any demo signs, because every single time there's an aerial play, I expect Twisted Minds to also work some of the magic on the ground. In the meantime, though, Clears tries to play low, didn't have much boost to work with, and the ball is being taken away from them. There's demo, off screen, Clears. Still possession with the Twisted Minds, looking for a very delayed flick is Venom. I feel like he was more just posturing himself without any chances. Most likely put himself for a block rather than any sort of play, just inviting Rule 1 to come to him.
A puff out of the chest. And I do love that confidence from Twisted Minds out of the quote-unquote top 3 that we might be able to discuss here or after on Reddit or wherever. It's only been Rule 1/KRN or indeed Team Falcons who have won regionals. Twisted Minds, in both this guys and their previous guys, of course, worth remembering that Mosin was on that old Twisted Minds roster way back in the full split. They've reached the finals the most out of, aside from Falcons and Rule 1, of course, yet it's that final hurdle which they have yet to go over. This, for me, Jam, the best that we have seen them. Passing lanes really nicely achieved, interactions and interceptions with the opposition, looking supreme, defense strong. Now that Rule 1 is looking to turn up the pressure once again, but I think Rule 1 are doing themselves a little bit of a disservice here. They're laying off the ball a little bit, perhaps a little wavered by the confidence that Twisted Minds are demonstrating.
Well, Rule 1 are really, all the cards are there for them. Oh. But look at that Venom. Oh, what a flick forward as well. He just does the Rocky Horsey, and look at him go. Even if that did not result in a goal, who cares? It looks spectacular. It put a lot of threat. Rule 1 going on that. Venom just tries to style on their opposition. This is Rule 1 we're talking about. Styling on Rule 1, he does not care.
Considering that Venom was the one making the most mistakes from the first game, really nice to see him growing into the series second by second. A nice, neat back pass. Perhaps a little bit too much mustard on it, but they can recover from here. Senzo picking up the 100 and throwing it to the midfield line, only going to reach Roas. And that's a melee of cars that has attempted to hit the ball, none of them really succeeding successfully. And 40 seconds left on the clock now. Rule 1 time running out, but Roas has just gone over the entire defense. Schooled, it's 2-2.
Oh, if anybody can, it's him. Little bit of cell. Look at that. It's just a chip up high in the sky. Everybody's looking for Mazen to be the first player. This is a long clear. We don't have to worry about it too much. Immediate jump from Ruiz. Immediate rush towards the net. And we are approaching the end of the game too. And look at that, the scoreline is once again closed. The problem though, for Rule 1, they haven't seen the opposite side of the field that often. I would have to say, to me it feels like the possession stat and domination stat would be squarely in the favor of Twisted Minds. We'd love to see it at the end of the game. Right now, a little bit of an individual play as well. A bit of a dangerous play as well. Just Twisted Minds do put a lot on the plate. They receive a lot from it, but they also do put a lot on it, and there's a lot to lose as a result.
Totally with you. I think that was very much a goal against the run of play, and I think it once again came from a bit of a Twisted Mind mistake. It's a second consecutive overtime. In game 1 it was 1-1, in game 2 it's 2-2. If this is how the series is going to continue, then I'm not sure how my boys are going to hold up. Certainly not if Rule 1 find an equalizer in the series. Very short, very sweet, embarrassing from a Twisted Minds kickoff perspective. Rule 1 ain't going to care.
It seems like Rule 1 are double park. They are in a hurry to end this overtime and get somewhere fast. Well, there's that a little bit of statistical tradition slash anomaly slash just a rule, I suppose, going out of the window. Previously, the series between these two teams have been always sweep one side, sweep the other side, or a reverse sweep. That was the case earlier in the tournament where it was Rule 1's reverse sweeping their opposition in Twisted Minds. No longer. This is 1-1. And both teams have now something on the board. The thing is, though, Twisted Minds. I was worried that, okay, they're going to be tired by this point, that it's Rule 1 we're talking afterwards. Maybe once it was okay, but then they're going to bounce back. Twisted Minds, I feel like in my eyes have gone up. And I feel like they're confident for them taking at the very least one series. Taking all three, but taking at the very least one, I feel like it's a doable mission.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're sort of seeing a bit of a microcosm of the larger story here, where I mentioned earlier that they've never won a regional despite having reached the final 2 twice, technically 3 times with the previous guys. They just haven't had that final element to really just get them over the line. And that's kind of what that game felt like. They were able to find that second goal, and then Rule 1 got back into order through a mistake, of course, and then it's 4 seconds and over, and Rule 1 have stolen away a victory. This is kind of what Rule 1 has been showing us all throughout this year, all throughout this season. They have the clutch factor when it matters most, and that 4-1 predicted scoreline from most of the armchair pundits in the behind the scenes here at the Rocket RB, I really do think that that is still the most likely scoreline, even if history has something else to say about it.
Would love to make history right over here. For now, first 10 seconds, no goal from Twisted Minds. Although this is looking dangerous. If this wasn't a high bounce, they almost did it. They almost did it with those bumps, and then was yet another bump. Venom is just rolling the opposition. Nope, it's still continuing. Twisted Minds open up the scoring gap.
Okay, we're just going to have to extend that stat. Twisted Minds have scored first in the first 30 seconds of every single game so far. Elias, that's so unfortunate, was looking for the wraparound from the inside of the goal. Unfortunately, it ends up jumping a little too early, so his trajectory is a little too sharp to get the block. Not that SMW is going to matter or care one iota. That is another go-ahead goal. It stops the rot of Rule 1. It once again shows that they are here to play. They're not going to cower, but look at this high press from Rule 1. All three players, I mean, they're forced back eventually to go for boost. They're wary of the counter-attack with Twisted Minds. Now they just got to keep this lead and ensure that Rule 1 don't get the opportunities to get back into the game as they have done previously.
And other things that are incredibly hard to do. Twisted Minds keep the lead. I mean, they've managed to do it so far in game number, well, not really 1. They had to go into the overtime to get anything going. They couldn't keep it in game number 2 either, but they're definitely getting every single tool that's available to them, and scoring first in every single game so far sets them in good stead. It's just that they're versus Rule 1, for goodness sake. Rule 1, one of the best, if not the best teams in the region so far, but they'll have to prove it. They'll have to prove it right now. It's either Rule 1 or Twisted Minds that are going to the major, the spring major, at the conclusion of today's tournament. And as we touched on before, Rule 1 only needs 4 wins. That's it. For Twisted Minds, it's a long, long path of getting, oh my goodness gracious, 12. That number still baffles my mind.
Jam, games are sprints, but it's worth learning from marathons. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And Twisted Minds lacking that clinical edge to put Rule 1 in the dirt, even for just one moment. They've required an overtime to win the first one. They were forced into an overtime and lost the second one. To win in regulation would be nice. Oh! And Senzo just centimeters away. How about SMW looking for a dunk? Not going to find it. Venom with the chip up, looking for SMW. Maybe looking for a pinch. No, here's Senzo onto the scene. Doesn't really get the perfect touch, but he's been left alone. Finally intercepted by Mosen. SMW loses out on the race. And Venom forced all the way back here. Oh, dangerous! And it's Venom again. Gives it to Kaliers. A freebie for Rule 1.
Just given to the opposition, Venom was trying to work the ball, gets the boost, but that's all he gets. No touch to the ball, not getting it under his control. Bounce off the wall like that is just a regular single play. You practice something like that in your training packs. And Kaliers, I'm pretty sure, has grinded thousands upon thousands of hours. 2 versus 1 bumps, not immediately seeing, no, someone is going straight for the player end, and that's the danger of Twisted Minds. They get a man advantage, there's no thinking. It's instinctual. They go for a bump, clear themselves the way. Not this time, but Rule 1 are always under a threat of being dunked on, demolished, bulldozed, and right now, not scored upon immediately.
Oh, and that was a weak shot as well. So unfortunate. Now that was a real put them to the sword opportunity. Twisted Minds spurn it once again, and I've been noticing a trend. Oh, forget the trend. Oh my goodness, Kaliers. Well, if Twisted Minds were meant to score, or weren't meant to score rather, then Fate had it in for Rule 1 as well. Should be 2-2, or rather should be 2-1. It remains 1-1. Twisted Minds get away with it. But continuing my point, Jam, I'm looking at Twisted Minds. They've almost got this obsession with going for the rear boosts here for Rule 1. They're looking to try and disarm them from their natural 1v1 play style, and yet I don't think that's the right call. When has Rule 1 looked most vulnerable? When Twisted Minds is driving directly at them, when they're forcing the challenges, that's when they look like their best. That's when Rule 1 looks like their worst. If the coach is on hand, then he should be picking that up.
Let's see if the adjustment is going to be made. SMW, his individual efforts versus Kaliers. Nope, not to be. And there's a demo on the player of Twisted Minds, hence Venom respawning all the way back, meaning safer net. But at the same time, no continuation for Twisted Minds. Oh, these teams. Again, Twisted Minds, not the team that I would have expected at the start of the season to necessarily do well. But then again, Senzo, SMW, even Venom, veterans of the scene, some of the best players in Middle East and North Africa. So it's not surprising that the combo of the 3 is going to be good. SMW, oh, he loves those taps off the backboard. Not this time.
On the counter, Roas gives it away so cheaply. Senzo waits Kaliers out, and that patience is not going to pay dividends, although we will get a demo. Venom got a call there, jumps over Roas. And are we really going to be heading to a 3rd overtime in a row? Senzo won't want that. Roas won't want that. My goodness, a dangerous touch off the top of the box. And Twisted Minds looking the more likely here. Roas goes sideways. Senzo gets another challenge in. lurking, dangerous, and Rule 1 want to spike it. It is going to be another overtime here at 1-1 again.
It's if not the history in one way, maybe we can do a history in another one. Seven overtimes. I would love to see 7 overtimes, just to add an extra really weird stat, just to have Direct over at Twitter again. Big shout out to Direct with all of his stat magics and everything. Maybe we can have just another one for a history book. For now, Ruaz needs to be stopped. Venom cannot do it alone. That's why he requires Senzo. And in the middle of the field, short path. No, Ruaz isn't even needed. Ruaz pre-jumps. You are kidding me. This has colors of Zen over in Europe and doing his magic when he just reads it.
Yeah, Venom, the culprit of the goal against them. My goodness, he's putting on a cape to save them time and time again, though. Maybe Twisted Minds need to help him out and just enable him up the pitch a little bit more. Perhaps he can get going on the offensive side. He dribbles past one, takes it to the backboard, meets Mosen, who wins the challenge, gets a hit off the side, and throws it into the center. Does really well to travel with the ball here. It's Venom once again. Oh, almost gets his pocket picked. SMW alive to the threat. Now it's Roas. He's run out of boost those Senzos. Throws it downfield. It's down to Kalirs. Venom to wrap around, misses the ball trajectory entirely. Back to Mosen, he hits him a little too hard. Spikes up, and there's Venom to throw it away.
Long clear, but Venom is going to be collecting it. Needed a bit of a stronger pinch or even just a completely different angle because all of his teammates were behind him to the left, and so no chances. You can see Venom rummaging on the ground, looking for Rule 1 players as Twisted Minds. That sound says it all. A disappointed sigh is how game number 3 ends after a miss on the play. Just settles it all in. Rule 1, get a freebie again.
Words cannot do that justice. It is just noises, very sad noises. Senzo is better than that. He was the third man. Should he really have been taking a risk that large? Well, hindsight is 2020, as they say, and I don't need my glasses to necessarily tell you what we saw on screen there, folks. Rule 1, freebie says it right. Jam 2 freebies, to be honest. Twisted Minds, architects of their own downfall. They can be competitive in this series. It's just a question of whether their talent will allow them to.
They scored 3 times in a row. They've scored first. 3 times we've been brought to the overtime because Rule 1 were able to bring this game back. Holding on. I mean, again, this is Rule 1. We are making no light-hearted situation over here. Twisted Minds are versus a Goliath kind of situation. They are the little David. That's what makes it so interesting. How can a little David defeat the absolute just killers? Ruaz, amazing. It seems impossible, and yet there's still a chance, and we're seeing glimpses, glimmers, and hopes. And I'm expecting a timeout. I'm definitely expecting a timeout because Rule 1 needs to be stopped right here. Any old momentum that they've gained, it's a slow momentum through overtimes, through barely getting it in. It's still a momentum that needs to be stopped one or another. We're not getting any confirmation, so who knows? I have a suspicion that we might be going straight into the next game. We are starting, so once again, that interesting rule of not taking a timeout once again proves to be very, very interesting.
I'll be real, like, I hear what you're saying, but I would argue that both of the losses here for Twisted Minds haven't been because Rule 1 have been good. It's because Twisted Minds have let themselves down, and that's not necessarily something that a timeout can sort out. That is, quite frankly, a winning mentality. You either have it or you don't. And I think just on the basis of their all-round gameplay, Twisted Minds know that they're good enough to pick up another win after Rule 1 have won twice now. But look again, it's another miss, this time off the top of the box. And for the first time this series, Jam, Rule 1 scores first. I would not be surprised if they score last.
Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. Well, no timeout. It's not for the benefit of Twisted Minds. As you said, their losses were not necessarily of their some big volition that they have made a ton of mistakes. They've made mistakes. They were costly mistakes, and we almost see a second one for Rule 1 immediately. But at the very least, it's not for Twisted Minds. It's against Rule 1. And if still they don't take it, well, it's how they want to play. We'll see how it's going to continue. For now, Rule 1, a break. How the series have been going so far. Senzo, there's a demo. Well, that demo just goes begging, as Twisted Minds cannot get the ball as close to the net as they would want it.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, look, Rule 1 win this one, and Twisted Minds have to take that timeout, if anything, just to stop the momentum.
This?
Quick turn, Venom! again. He is either the devil or the redeemer, Jam. There is no in between.
What a lovely little pinch, and yep, Mazen, you cannot catch it. You cannot catch it. The roles have switched. And who is going to take this one? Let the game speak for itself, because so far it has been a really entertaining affair. Senzo, a little close play, and Twisted Minds, I love their ingenuity. They're not afraid to just pump the brakes, take a sharp turn, and continue on pressing in a situation that in any other case would be just, okay, we'll rotate back. No, they continue to create if there's an improvisational situation for them. Killers, what a beautiful little pass from Mazen. Oh, shall I call it a big one, because that was the perfect set.
Rule 1 quality, and all comes off their classic wide style rotation. It does mean that they're a little bit susceptible in the middle of the pack. It's why I've been encouraging Twisted Minds to go a little bit more direct than they have been. Rule 1, I think, obviously the benefits show right there. Lovely bit of space to get that infield pass on target. The shot eventually on target itself, and that is the quality of Rule 1 that we know and love. Oh dear.
Oh dear indeed. Players following up on top of one another. Rule 1, once they get that grip on you, rarely do they let go, and Twisted Minds are now experiencing just that. They had the benefit of scoring first on a regular basis. This little chaotic moment could work for Twisted Minds. Demo, but that's Rule 1 player out. And look at Twisted Minds in the defense. When you're a little bit more stationary, it's a bit more harder to get anything. And that is Rule 1, playing by the book.
Brothers in arms, kill ears. How about this for a pass? Gorgeous, well weighted, well timed. Roas shooting far post, exactly the sort of position that you want to as a forward, as a striker, seeing that the goalkeeper has committed the other way. Scary signs for Twisted Minds, Jam, as we enter the final 3 minutes of game number 4.
At least after this game, I'm not sure how it's gonna end. I might be counting my chickens way before they hatch. But if Twisted Minds lose this one, please, for love of everything, take a timeout. At least for pinch sake, second time in a row in this game, Twisted Minds score off a beautifully made challenge.
It's a Cobra, and he strikes when he smells blood in the air. Really opportunistic strike here, seeing the breaker part of the defense from Rule 1 in their own third. It at least makes that deficit 1 goal, Jam, as we head towards half-time. It's certainly manageable, but Rule 1, as we all know, folks, if you've watched them for 5 minutes or 1 minute, they absolutely can continue to extend that lead once again.
Right, straight off the kickoff, a series of demos, bumps, Twisted Minds almost getting a chance, but Killers stops it. Then still it's a continuation as SMW is getting himself double taps and triple touches and whatnot on the ground. But it's right here, was stopped by someone once again. Do they have anybody in the attack? That Senza already running on fast. And Twisted Minds are not shy about committing players up front. There's a lot of just proactivity. Even before the play is completely played out, they will commit to. They're back a little bit exposed, but what else can they do when they're trailing in the game, in the series, and Rule 1 is looking to take a match point?
Oh, Twisted Minds caught out once again. They were slow, they were ponderous. Senzo with the chip up, and look at Venom. Look at Venom. What was Venom? Why was Venom? 4-2
good
Rule 1,
questions.
Twisted Minds at fault again.
Wow. It's a tough situation. When you are in attack, you are seeing the field in front of you. You can commit resources up front. Twisted Minds were all underneath the ball. There was no time to rotate back for the ball. This though, he double clears Senzo. No, actually rotating laterally to the middle of the field. Nobody gets to this one, and immediately, just as the attack from Twisted Minds started, Rule 1 converge.
Bang.
Literally, Killers. 3 goals to his name. Rule 1 are running away with this game.
The dam has been opened and the goals have begun to flood in. Twisted Minds, in their own doubts, in their own negative thoughts, in their own desperation to once again keep up with the Rule 1 hype train. Unfortunately, they've left their defensive duties wanting. Nobody taking real responsibility here. Rule 1 wholly responsible for the turnaround in form. It wasn't looking great for them in game number 1, was it? Very much the second team. They are well on top now, and Senzo, that had to be on target.
My goodness, Twisted Minds are still finding good cuts through the lines of Rule 1. The only problem is they somehow need to continue finding those, and most importantly, converting them Senzo just stopped by Ruaz. He flew out of different area coding it, still managed to make a save. Demo, somebody still gets it. Senzo somehow is in the mix. There's SMW, not going to get the booster, but at least going to make a very long clear, but that's not for the possession of Twisted Minds. That's just to remove the pressure, any sort of pressure, because Rule 1 are going to be immediately moving on in. Off the screen, I'm pretty sure that's Ruaz trying to remove the goalie of Twisted Minds, and taking a page from the book of Twisted Minds themselves. Rule 1 are now not shy about going for some physical plays. At this point, just really bringing the point home. That is, we're not getting this game anymore.
We're into Twisted Minds need a consolation goal territory. I don't think they're going to get it. Rule 1 looking the more likely. Kill is on an airstrike, and he manages to find one, doesn't find the second. Double commit off the backboard. Twisted Minds floundering in their own net. This match rating for me, Jam, is a uh-oh, Chief.
Rule 1. Match points. Series, tournament, major spot. That's a lot to be playing for. There's a lot of pressure on the backs, and previously, we've seen that Rule 1 were not always the team that necessarily had the ice, the ability to close it down. For Twisted Minds, though, they need to be incredibly hot to bring through this series, and then to bring through the bracket reset, and then to bring through everything else. There needs to be something impossible, something improbable. My God, let's see it.
Surprising absolutely nobody. Twisted Minds, timeout. They're going to need it, Jam, because for the first time today, I think, they got beaten purely and solely on merit as opposed to their own mistakes. Not to say that their own mistakes weren't also conducive to such a big win for Rule 1, but Rule 1, I think, finally showing the quality after what was a pretty slow start to the series.
Well, Rule 1, I mean, we know them. We absolutely know them. They are they are the team that came into the scene and all of a sudden started just taking wins, taking names, chewing bubblegum. Danny Boy earlier, I think, ran out of the bubblegum. I've restocked. Everything's okay. Casters, everything's all right. It is a team that's going to be that finally broke that one team region situation in Middle East and North Africa. It was always Falcons. Now it's also Rule 1, and we're also seeing, hey, Twisted Minds are in contention as well. Oh, and actually, how about Infinity, who has been absolutely tremendous throughout the split as well. The region is opening up, and Rule 1 still need to be proving strongly that they are either in top 2 contention or in top 1 contention, and most importantly, right now, for the first time ever, they want to be the representative of MENA coming into a major, coming into a LAN event, RLCS LAN event, mind you, as they've played in Saudi Arabia in the international events previously.
Yeah, still feels to me, Jam, like a bit of a two-tier system. Like, I love the spotlight being thrown onto Infinity. They've made top 4 every single regional this split, which is incredibly impressive. Twisted Minds themselves have done really good. But I think we're seeing clear as day here as we head onto the wonderful oasis that befalls our lovely canyon here. Quite frankly, the difference in execution of game plan has been stark. Rule 1 has been able to clutch up even when they weren't playing at their best. They've got the wins, and they have preyed upon every single mistake that has befallen Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds are playing quite literally to a glass ceiling. Are they able to break through? Do they have the talent to even break through? Well, that's for them to answer, not for us. Tournament and match point, major point, Jam. Oh, and majorly close there. Mosen unable to tie up his shoelaces.
No, they can't seem to stick together in a Rule 1. What is this? Which year is that? Why is it nobody sticking bumper to bumper or back to back or whichever situation you might be finding yourself in? Oh, it's rude. It's absolutely rude. No early goal, but both teams immediately getting some sort of a chance. And let's remind everybody what's on the line right now. After Twisted Minds have taken the timeout, they still have a lot to work for, and an own goal rings the first one in a game that could be the last.
I'll have a vowel, please, Carol. That's an O. I'll have another vowel, please, Carol. That's another O. And I'll have a consonant to finish it off. F.
Sorry, Carol? Which year are we in again?
I don't know. The years which I grew up in, Jam.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Which, may I remind you, you grew up in as well.
I mean, I did, but to be fair, countdown references, everybody. UK show Countdown, or originally from somewhere else. Anyway, trivia hour over. How about Venom setting up for anybody? Everybody goes, nobody gets it.
Oh, and
except for
Roas gets it. Oh, no. Get the tissue boxes out, folks, because we might have a few tears after this one. How wide open was this? Too wide open for my liking. Twisted Minds falling away from their grand final aspirations, crumbling at the seams.
I can't remember. Did I say bonsoir to our French viewers? If not, bonsoir. Happy to have you here. Happy you're watching. And I do agree with Gapsol. Bonsoir finit. That seems like it.
Had the period stop on the end there as well, and you've got yourself a correct sentence. Right, Twisted Minds. Look, let's try and look positively at this. Not all over yet. 2 goal deficits have been overturned with far less time than what we've seen here previously. Rule 1, almost with the solo standard special there to defend at the top beans. Venom, the turnaround, but where is that going realistically? Expending boost, no forward momentum. In fact, it's being chucked back the other way. Senzo goes sideways, of course, massively at fault for goal number 1. And unfortunately, SNW's beaten. Roas pokes it in. Could get ugly, Jam.
Oh me, oh my. The moment goals have stopped from Twisted Minds, the moment the aggression was no longer enough, the moment the bumps and demos stopped being effective, that's where Rule 1 came into the game. There's just too much to chase. First games have been incredibly close. Again, we had 3 overtimes in a row, and Twisted Minds utilized every single trick in their book. Early goals, demos, and everything to keep themselves alive. And again, they got the first game. That's about all they got so far. But once that, well, dried out, there's nothing else in their books. I'm not sure what else is there. Individual effort has already been shown as well. How about this one? Senzo, SMW. Still cannot bring it through. We've seen individual efforts from every single player of Twisted Minds as well, but even that might not be enough. The problem is they might score 1, and that was looking incredibly close. This as well. When Rule 1 are scoring 3, 5, just not enough. Not enough.
Man, it certainly wasn't going to be enough if Kaliers had made contact there. Almost certainly number 4, but here's Senzo dropping down onto the goal, forces 2, but where's the Shadow Striker? Mosin's up first, SNW waits, and it's too late, Venom. Everyone's back in place, they're in the defensive stalwarts, and now it's onto the counter-attack they go. Roas chasing down the ball, Kaliers through the corner. Who's up? It's Senzo first, he throws it away, timely, but there's only 2 minutes left to get 3 back.
Oh, and so far in this series, Twisted Minds have not scored more than 2. That was game number 2, and in the overtime, they lost it to the opposition killers. You could see Jim just waltzing. He is on a brisk walk through the woods, is enjoying himself. Look at him once again, demo. Not getting the demo in Senzo. Actually, that would have been stunned him in that situation. He just knows, in front of the net, he's going to receive the ball. 4-0.
I don't mean to go all Smeagol on yous, but there's boxes in the boxes. Every single one of these goals has been close quarters. Great communication from Rule 1, and we should not forget the efforts of Rule 1 here. As I mentioned earlier, they started slow, but the way that they've ramped up has been so impressive, and we can see time and time again just how wonderful these 3 worked well together. Especially Mosin, of course, who, let us not forget, wasn't the original starter back when the roster was KRN. Many would have thought, hold on a second, what's this move about? But he adds an extra bit of experience, he adds an extra bit of defense, often acting as an anchor to the more creative Roas and Kaliers. 1 minute left, Jan, and I'm sorry, but you can hear the bow being tied up on the present.
You can see just a moment ago Senzo with a beautiful setup, SMW now with a beautiful attempt to redirect the ball on target. Any old day, any other series, this would have been a beautiful goal, but not here, not now. Because it seems like the stage is laid out for Rule 1, for the 3 players that so far have not tasted the international looks, and Rule 1 today looks like the team that is worthy of representing their region.
It's going to be so exciting as well. The first team other than Falcons to represent their region on the big stage. We will all certainly watch with anticipation as the likes of Kaliers will step onto the stage and hopefully prove his worth for his region. It's number 5, a famous 5, and Rule 1 Jam, well, you can't deny their star power.
Number 1. They finally got themselves where they wanted. Now the next step, of course, winning the major, getting to Worlds, winning the Worlds. But I think one of the biggest objectives so far in the existence of this team as a whole has been achieved. Rule 1 across the whole split has proven to be the best team in Middle East and North Africa. And folks, with the way they have been playing, I think there's no doubts, no haters, no doubters, no people questioning this. They are worthy.
I hate to say I told you so, folks, but I did tell you so, folks. 4-1. It was written in the stars. And look, I know that we all had our hopes about Twisted Minds, and let us praise them for getting this far yet again. Really tough fought series against the Falcons, but as soon as you saw the Falcons struggling against Twisted Minds and the nature in which Rule 1 utterly dismantled the Falcons earlier today, the wind was blowing in a certain direction, and it was only blowing into the sails of the Rule 1 ship, which is going to cruise its way now, Jam, over to Boston, where hopefully they'll pick up a load of points. It'll be a really important experience for them, especially as they then look even further towards the World Championships beyond.
Yeah, there's a lot to still be playing for, but their position at Major immediately sets them in good stead to get themselves a seed for the World Championship as well. The moment you have ability to just grab as many points as possible where your opposition is not able to do so, I can see Rule 1 maybe even grabbing the number 1 seed from Falcons, and there has been a discussion saying that it's so much easier for the first seed out of the region to be playing in a tournament, because then you're playing versus lower seeds. You're playing teams that you are perhaps can't beat comfortably. For the second seed is going to be incredibly tough. We're obviously also talking the wild card stage, everything else. But for now, Rule 1, well, they've been gotten here to this point for a while now. And they finally arrived to their destination. Bravo, Clears was amazing. You thoroughly deserve this victory.
Well, my voice box is thanking the Rocket League gods. No 3 best-of-7 series for me today, but let us catch up then on everything that did happen today. We started off with the smacking of Falcons, Rule 1, eventually going on as they meant to do. Twisted Minds following up with a sweep of their own over Infinity, sent home as the 4th best team yet again. Best series of the day following. Twisted Minds up against Team Falcons. Falcons looking a little off the pace. Twisted Minds showing some gut, some grit. S&W with perhaps the goal of the tournament, a solo effort well worth watching back on the clips. Hopefully Reddit is seeing it already. I don't think there'll be too much for Reddit to see in our final series though. Rule 1 taking down Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds picking up the first game, yes. Looking close to take other games, yes. Ultimately not winning anything after, yes. Rule 1 head to the Boston Major. And we just hope that they carry that sort of form and exciting creativity onto the international stage.
And this graphic once again has reminded me that for Twisted Minds, it was not just a win 3 in the grand finals.
Yeah.
First series, bracket reset, tiebreaker. But also they literally have to play 2 more best of 7s. They could have played all best of 5, best of 7s. Even... No, my mind just cannot comprehend that, and unfortunately, as fantastic that scenario would have sounded like, Twisted Minds, you fought bravely. You've defeated Infinity. That series was looking one way. You've defeated Team Falcons and really delivered a dagger in the back of the veterans of the scene. But Rule 1 seemed to be the new kids on the block, and what a day they've had.
Sometimes Rocket League just seems to go on and on and on, but sadly for today, and indeed for the MENA region, our time comes to an end. It's been a fantastic display from the entire MENA region. I think overall, to sum up, a season where we've seen much more growth, much more strength in depth. I think Rule 1, of course, the breakout story. Falcons... Well, there are certainly some exciting prospects on the horizon looking towards next season. Will they look to make a move? Are they going to stick with the 3 that has gotten them so far already? Lots of questions, certainly, as we move forward into, I guess, what would be 23, 24. Of course, no news on that next championship series, whenever that is. But I tell you what we do have news on. Of course, we do have the SAM Invitational still upcoming. That's going to be next week, so be sure to tune in for that. It's going to be a very exciting time in a very exciting region indeed. Exciting cast is taking you through the action today. Of course, we started off with Digital Bacon, Danny Boy, and Spooks. We had Psycho Existence thrown in there, and well, he's been Jam. I've been Relic. A big shout out to all of our behind the scenes team, including John, including Kales, including our wonderful producer Deployer. The pretty pictures do not go up without them. Please be sure to give them your thanks. Be sure to follow as well if you are new here. The rocket continues, not just, of course, next week with RLCS, but tomorrow with Rising Stars Odyssey. Be there early, midday, 1 p.m. It's roughly about to start with the likes of G1 and Moist taking part. Sure to be a very, very exciting time in an EU tournament, which is an RLCS. The commodity, the excitement, the rarity. Folks, thank you so much. And from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.